City League champions back-to-back years, and it started last year with that group of players. What has made them click so much over the course of 2 years now?
Just the brotherhood of the unit. They spent a lot of time together. My first year here, I had a group that, wasn't all on the same page. This group I got now, like I said, we played a lot of basketball in the summer. We do a lot of things together, and all that stuff off the court, it just started carrying on the court. We wasn't predicted to do well that year. We was actually picked to finish third in the City League. Had a terrific start, starting off the year about 6-1, and it just gelled through that whole season. We lost two out of 3 games in the middle of the season. Then we ran off 13 straight games. So the group is special. They was juniors that year. Obviously, it ended magical. The year during the summer, we lost our assistant coach, Coach Howard. So we kind of wanted to do it for him and make it real special, because my first year being here, him with that group, he was always hard on them. Always said what they can do. Always said that they could be champions, and we was happy to get that done for him.
We got to see you, I think, in your realist form. So maybe some tears, jumping around, laying on the floor. Why was that moment so big for you and this team?
It's just me personally. I sacrifice a lot. I put in a lot of time with these kids. A lot of time I don't get to spend at home. A lot of time I don't spend with my own family, my mom, my brothers. So, because I consider these kids my kids. So I put in a lot of time, hard work, effort, and these kids do the same. So to see all that sweat, equity that we put in over the summer, over the spring, getting them to buy into all the extra time that I wanted to put in, and to see it end like that, and especially how we did dedicate it for Coach Howard, it was just so special. Being that we was up big in that game, and then seeing that we was down 5 with 50 seconds left, and the back of my mind, seeing that we almost kind of blew the game and forced to hit a couple big shots and hit the shot at the buzzer, which is a dream shot for every person who plays basketball. So kind of felt like I hit the shot, I was right behind him, and just a lot of emotions fell out.
Yeah, Brandon Lewis hitting that winning shot. This time around, going into the City League Championship, you're without him. You're without one of your top guys down to an ACL. How did that change your game plan strategizing?
It changes the whole dynamic of my team. Like, Brandon Lewis is probably one of the best shooters in the area. So he's on the top of everybody's scouting report. He stretches the floor for us. Every team has to put a guy on him and not leave him, because if he gets a shot off, he's a 40% three-point shooter. So we had a couple guys that needed to step up. Adrian Michael, Darius Bay, guards that wasn't seeing as much time as Brandon, had to step up. And it's just, every coach says it, next man up. We hated to do it because, he's such a significant part of what we've been doing with the program the last 3 years. And I actually got to be there at the doctor with him to get that heartbreaking news. And, I was just heartbroken. I had to be strong for him, because, him sitting in the back, sitting in the back seat of my car, knowing that his season was over. I know he was really emotional. I was emotional even sitting in the driver's seat. But we just got to practice. We dedicated, like we did the first year with Coach Howard, we dedicated this city championship to him, and we pulled it off.
What does it say about your team that they can play without their best player, go down a little bit in the second half, and then make a comeback to win it?
We got a lot of guys that like to work hard and play. We don't got that guy that's averaging 15, 20 points that a lot of people do in the area. We got a bunch of guys that's averaging between 8 to 12 points, like 6 guys. So, we a pretty deep team, and we spread the ball around, we play unselfish. So with that next man up mentality, knowing that we got other guys that have been contributing this season, I'm not gonna say it was easy, it was still tough, but I'm glad we pulled it off.
Heard that occasionally on Sundays your players go to church with you. Why is that something that you guys focus on during the season?
It was a tough challenge for me to getting them to buy into that. It was something that I really didn't want to make mandatory, because you don't know every kid's belief, every kid what they do at home with their own parents on Sunday. So started off not getting much attendance out of them, because I didn't want to put no pressure on the kids into coming. But lately, we've been having at least 15 to 20 kids show up each Sunday out of 30 kids in our program. So it's just been special. As a coach, you preach a lot. You preach a lot about school, you preach a lot about basketball, but it's something me personally don't have in me, and that's the Word of God. And it's something I'm trying to instill in myself, and it's something where I like to go to church. And I mean, I don't go every Sunday, but we try to go every other Sunday as a team, and I sit there and be locked into what the preacher is saying, and always tell the boys to focus on the message, because this is a message that you can get that can relate to your life. It can relate to what we do on the basketball floor, and it's just been a good thing for our program.
How did it start? Did it just come up in your mind one day, hey, some of these boys might need some church in their lives on Sundays?
It's actually funny. It started at, we do volunteer work at the Mud Hens. So next to our booth that we're normally in is one of the deacons there in the booth next to ours. So, I mean, we always interact when we walk the money down the hallways, and one of the deacons happened to run into Devin Williams, and he just came up to me like, man, you got one. I spoke to Devin Williams. He's a great kid. Seems like he got good character. And we was actually throwing a golf outing, and he was like, man, we would like to contribute to your program. So like he invited us. It just started off as an invitation to church. He invited us there. They brought us all on stage, had me speak, and just, I mean, one of the deacons just spoke to the whole congressional about how great the kids that we have, how every time he see each one of our kids, they speak well, they're not clowning around, they carry themselves well, they work hard, because you in an environment where, I mean, it's tough. I mean, we not getting paid for that as far as making a paycheck, but you still got to work just as hard as the employees there, and it's not easy work. You're handling food, you're handling money. I mean, it's just a big situation to where it actually made a lot of my players like grow. And the Mud Hens ended up offering job opportunities to my kids. So, yeah, it started about just a conversation one of the deacons had with Devin Williams. They invited us, and then we just started going every Sunday from then on.
How much of an impact do you think that has had on each and every single one of those players that go on Sundays?
It's a special impact because, like, I mean, now some of the kids is starting to hold each other accountable to come. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to force any of the kids to come, but the times that where it was only 6 to 8 people showing up, and then most of the time we do have practice right afterwards, because the church is actually at the YMCA, which is connected to our school. I mean, our gym. So it's actually it's easy access to where we can just go to church and then come straight over to practice. But you know, kids will start rolling in after church, like leaders like Devin Williams, Tavion McDonald, like, where you at? And if they didn't have a legitimate reason, hey man, good message today at church. I mean, you should have been there to hear what they had to say. So they start actually holding each other accountable for that, which made it easier on me, and which made us start having those 15 to 20 kids show up.
A graduate of Wait, you've spent some time coaching at Wait. As soon as you graduated, when did you know that coaching was a path you wanted to take?
It's actually funny. I mean, I graduated in 05. I got a twin brother who has always been a year behind me since 3rd grade. So he was a graduate of 06. So as soon as I was done, they got started in the summer. You know, like you say, the cliche, the twins are attached at the hip. So I was always just showing up to the gym with him, just standing, watching him practice, watching him work out, get ready for the summer. So it was just one day, Coach Pitzenbarger, who I played for and who was the coach during the time I started coaching that way, he just came up to me like, hey, I got Jeremy McDonald, who's about to be our freshman coach. You mind being his assistant? I mean, I'm like, I mean, I never thought about coaching, but since I'm always in the gym, and he just said, just a good opportunity for you to learn the game. You're always around. You go be in a college. You ain't got to do it full time. You could just help Jeremy out here and there. And I just roll with it. So, I mean, I was his assistant for one season, and then the following year, the JV coach resigned, and Jeremy McDonald moved up to JV. So then he offered me the freshman job, and I actually turned it down because I just didn't feel I was ready. You know, me being 19, the kids was already 15, 16, so close in age, didn't know how to handle it. So I just made a bet on myself and just decided to roll with it, and ended up coaching freshman basketball at Wait for 4 straight seasons, had some success. I mean, made a couple Final Fours, and that was when the City League was at full strength and we're around 10, 11 teams. So it was a fun experience at Wait, and I'm glad Coach Pitzenbarger gave me that opportunity.
When did you think you were actually finally ready to be a coach?
I would say after my first year being freshman, like, you know, not knowing the game as much, and we ended up being like 10-7 that year. Maybe the following year, because after that first year under my belt, my freshman team, we went like 15-2. So I'm like, I mean, I'm teaching these boys life. They starting to love me. They looking for guidance from a 19, 20-year-old, and them only being 16. Them calling me for extra help with school, with I mean, opinions on how they should handle certain things on life. So after my second year of freshman, the success I had in coaching, even though I was, you think I'm intense now, I was super intense back then. But I had a lot of guidance from Coach Pitt. Coach Howard was actually the girls coach at Wade, so he was always around with me because he was a freshman girls coach, I was freshman boys, so we had to travel together. So I had him there molding me too, and it was just fitting that he was able to come here and be my assistant my first year as varsity.
Were they ever like, settle down, coach? You're too much right now? What did they say to you?
Oh, it was I needed to settle down. They called me young Bobby Knight. I mean, that's
Were you throwing any chairs?
I never threw no chairs, but you know, I get a kid and I'll be all up on them, all in their face. So I had to just learn how to channel that, and I just had great mentors around me to lead me through that.
Speaking of a mentor, Jeremy McDonald, now over at Northview, undefeated on the season, has a legitimate road to the state championship. Just what was it like to learn under Coach McDonald?
I mean, he's very, very, very smart. I mean, a lot I've learned through him, especially him coaching that way, because he was a freshman coach and a JV coach, but he was also one of the top varsity assistants on the team. So he did a lot of the scouting for Coach Pitt. He did a lot of the game planning. So he's real analytical. He knows how to scout and, I mean, break down a team very well. So without being under him, that started to teach me how to start analyzing the team, what players' weakness is, what do those teams actually run, so you can prepare your team for how you need to defend them. So, and we actually text here and there, so, and we still communicate here today. So actually, I mean, being with him, you know, he was always trying to be the next coach at Wade, and I was always trying to be, he always let me know, like, if I ever get this job, I mean, you gonna be right here, you gonna be my assistant. So he should be the head coach at Wade, and I should be the assistant, but luckily, I'm glad that didn't work out, because now, I mean, he's having success at Northview. I actually got an opportunity to be the head coach here, and 2 05ers here doing well with varsity program. So if we happen to meet, it would be in the regional semi.
What do you think that game would be like? How would you describe it?
Oh, it'll be intense, because I mean, we both got a good relationship with each other. We decent friends now, so I mean, it'll be an intense matchup.
It'd be something to watch.
Yeah.